Yeah, have you started? Okay. Hello, everyone. We are almost there. This is the last day. We still have a few important sessions to come, including a keynote by Marta Machado, which is like the next opening the next panel. But for this session, we are gonna talk about the PhD course that we have together with the Bergen Exchanges. The Bergen Exchanges being an integral part or the other way around, the PhD course. We have about 20 PhD candidates who came to Bergen to join us for this intense week. This exchange and this mobility was facilitated by the project that we have, INTPART, Autocratization Dynamics, and we have several partners in Brazil and South Africa, in the US, Canada, India, and yes, I hope I covered all the countries. Yes. And we are lucky to have today with us Fabio Toledo from Fundação Getúlio Vargas and Camilla Gomes from the University of São Paulo, who will be talking with us all together. This is a conversation about the course, what is working, what can be improved. And we'll start with Fabio. So first, maybe I should say, before we start with Fabio, how this session work. We have like an open conversation. We had like different formats for the session, sometimes many people and less. And what we want is really to be challenged. How can we do better? But also that we can see what are we doing right? What is important to keep doing? And I think we learn a lot from this conversation. For example, the mentoring sessions that we have today, institutionalized, was a result that as reflecting that we had several people who are more like, okay, outspoken and just easy to approach a professor. They would like to discuss their research projects, while other people are a little bit shy and wouldn't dare, or maybe are just starting their PhD, and we realize that it's important to institutionalize. And this year we are going one step further. That is the same person who is mentoring. You're going to be reading your final essays for the course, and also giving comments to help you publish this work. So just to show how we can improve by reflecting and taking the time to learn from previous experience.
Maybe you could just say a little bit about how the course is,
the format. So, yeah, okay. So that we have first a meeting in June where all students, together with people who took the course earlier, talk and see how, okay, this is a program, and they can ask questions and prepare and get to know each other. And then we have 1 week before the Bergen Exchanges, we have online teaching sessions with people involved in the network from different places. Some people have to wake up very early, others have to go to bed very late, but so far it's working well. Of course, there are room for improvements that we've been discussing. We had a workshop, project workshop for INTPART the weekend before the exchanges when we discussed, and we had students joining. Camilla was one of them. And then the week of the Bergen Exchanges itself, that is part of the course, where students can come on stage and share their research. It's just that this panel is a little bit funny because I have two people who are looking at me with faces and signs trying to remind me of something important that I should say. So just, yes, go ahead. And I said, I want to have this microphone for you, Siri, because I know you're going to talk.
So Lara says, I'll take this microphone for you. You can join us on the stage. And I'm like, no. And then, of course, I'm sitting there being impossible. So, because I wanted to say, can I just say a couple of more things? So, and that's probably what Anna had to say as well, that in addition to this week of teaching, there is a week before that. So we actually started on the 5th of course proper, on the 5th of August, when we had the introductory lecture to the course is called Effects of Lawfare, Courts and Law as Battlegrounds of Social Change. So we had sort of the introductory lecture and also to the different tracks. So Lisa and Daniele were track leaders for the Autocratization and Democracy and Resistance track. And they had an introduction to the literature around this. Rachel and Anna Proconier were they're responsible for the track on Indigenous peoples and the law. And then we had a general track with different topics. So we had these discussions, and then the students worked in groups with reflection notes for the first week. And then actually, even in June, everyone had to come with their plug to say, this is me, this is my project, and this is a fun fact about me. And then we videoed all of the 2 minutes so that all the teachers could get to know you in advance. And then there is also, I mean, you're not done yet even, because next week you have to present your projects and get comments, and Luciana will give comments to everyone. So it's quite comprehensive. It's a lot of work. So I just want to say that, and I want to say one more thing, because this joint research project that we have with the 13 partners, it's also in addition. So it has a topic, which is autocratization dynamics, but it also has as the main aim to develop, to think about how we can better have research embedded and student-led learning. So this thing about how can we make not only this course, but how can we make our courses more generally on law and politics, but particularly on autocratization and autocratization dynamics, how can we make them more truly research embedded and particularly more truly student-led? So just sort of, I'm sorry, but I just sort of wanted to say that, because I think we often think that everybody knows this, but I think it's actually, and Lisa is in charge of this project, and I think it's a very innovative way of it's actually very difficult questions that we're trying to make a bit of headway on. So that's why we need help from everyone. But now I give the word to you.
Be sorry, because this is part of the script. And she has covered Ania's point, so now we are good. We continue, but you can stop us and contribute whenever you like. And we are going to open very soon for discussion. But I'd like to ask Fabio to share, based on your research agenda, in your experience, what are the main, points that you'd like to make in relation to the course and the Bergen Exchanges?
Sure. Can you hear me? Yeah. Right. So first, I'd like to thank Citi, you, Lara, and Matea, everyone involved in the organization of the event. I know it's really hard, and you worked really hard during this period of time. And say that one very interesting aspect of Bergen Exchange is that we have also all the social part of the event. So we had a party last night. It was really great. It was really awesome. Everybody had so much fun. So besides all the academic work. So I would like to talk very briefly about my research agenda. So I study pre-trial detention hearings in Brazil, which is a very specific topic. But when we talk about pre-trial detention hearings, we're also talking about one of its goals was the reduction of imprisonment in Brazil. And this is important because just saying a couple of numbers, they're not precise, but we have around 800,000 people arrested in Brazil today. And 40% of these people didn't go to trial. So Brazil is in third place in the world in number of imprisonments. So it's first USA, China, and Brazil is third. So it's a lot of people in jail. So the pre-trial detention hearings, during these hearings, the judge will interview the detainee in order to check if they should or not maintain that prison during criminal persecution. So this is what I'm trying to understand better, how it works, and if it's being helping to prevent more prisons, and among other things. And so how does my research relate to Bergen Exchange, right? What's the impact of Bergen Exchange? first of all, I have to say that this is not only my first time in Bergen, but also my first time in Europe. So you can imagine the cultural shock that we face. But this is really important for any research, I believe. And to me, it wasn't different because I don't know if this happens to you, but usually when we are doing our research, we are so focused on our topic, our research agenda, and we don't think about anything else. And when I got here, I started talking to people from all parts of the world, and especially from the global south. And that made me think on so many different levels regarding my research. So basically, I study what happens when after a person is detained by the police, and talking to people from South Africa. And so what is it like? Is it the same as in Brazil? What about if you're arrested in Colombia or in Norway, right? I'm really curious about it. So these are some of the things I would like to research further. And so this possibility to not only come to Bergen, but talk to people from different cultures, I think this is really amazing, and it opens our minds. So we kind of start thinking about other possibilities. So if any of you would like to think about how it's prison and detention in different parts of the world, please join me. I'll be glad to talk to you in the future. That's it. Thank you.
In fact, great idea of having, well, the name was so complicated that I'm using the Menti, right?
Menti.
The abbreviation, that we're having a few questions and the audience will join us very soon before we open for a conversation. But before that, I'd like to hear from Camilla. What can we do better? And before Camilla says, so what she's saying is not only her opinion, but we had a course evaluation this morning where everyone could share their points, and also they talk between themselves. One of the things that we realized that was like a challenge was having many people here that do come and say only good things because maybe you're happy and we are happy that you're happy, but we also want to do things better where we can. So it's nice that I think it's easier that you're also representing and bringing points from your colleagues. So yes, please.
Thank you, Lara, and thank you for the disclaimer. So I would add that not only because criticizing such a great event is difficult, but also because, as we discussed at methodology before and ethics, I don't want to steal my colleagues' ideas, and they had such great ideas about how to improve Bergen Exchanges. And I would like to also, before criticizing, making a small compliment as well, because maybe it soft things out, but I think Bergen Exchanges has exemplified, for me at least, it's like an example of intergenerational generosity. And I feel like my colleagues agree. I see many nods, because not only we as PhD students, we have the opportunity to really engage, right, with scholars and professors that we admire. We also have the opportunity of improving and talking as equals, like part of this project. So I think this is great. And I was invited along with two other colleagues, Candela and Guillermo, to attend a session before Bergen Exchanges workshop where professors were discussing the course. And at first I was a little bit curious, like, what can I contribute? And am I here just for show, like we're including students? But actually we were pretty demanded, as we have been all this week. And we made, I believe, points, and we were heard. And many of the criticisms that I'll bring today, I believe we already discussed, and many solutions have already appeared, which is incredible. So I believe one of the main issues for us was like we don't have much time to prepare. And since we're exercising some competences and creating competences, it was hard for us to prepare. So there was issue with some the readings, and one of the solutions that the professor suggested, because it's important for us to have the readings and to be able to identify the literature on the field, But one of the suggestions is to adopt like this is a mandatory reading and optional readings on each class would make it easier for us to follow the discussions. And I think that is a great idea, would compromise our, difficulties and also our, you see, everyone wants to read everything, but sometimes we can't. Another issue was about learning in advance all the possibilities of the program, including the participating here in the tables, in the discussions, in the seminar, because for us, it was, at least in my case, the first opportunity. So it was really challenging. And some of us were like freaking out a little bit before, and we couldn't sometimes pay attention in the seminars before because we're obsessed with reading our presentations. But at the same time, this shows this deeply commitment with giving us opportunities and challenging us. So I really feel, and as my colleagues, we were all afraid and scared, but we were also really excited, and we are really thankful for the opportunity. And another discussion that appeared for my colleagues is the will and the need to have some kind of discussions about teaching, if that could be included in the program. Because many of us, especially in the Global South, we cannot choose between being professors and like teaching professors and researchers. This is a combo. Some of us want to teach. And we remember vividly, one of the colleagues pointed, Liz, when she started our class, she said, I love to teach. And for many of us, this resonated so much because we could really feel that the professors were there because they had this calling. But I think we could maybe share about how to improve that, because I believe for me, much of my experience in teaching comes from example. So you see how people behave and you're like, oh, this is nice. I would like to do that in my professional practice one day. And for the one thing, it's important, like we came here, we could see like positive examples of this teaching practice, but at the same time, at least in law, we have really bad examples of really hierarchical, relations and this deference, this fear, right, among, and it's really hard because there is always the risk of emulating. So one of the, for me, this intergenerational generosity comes as well as giving us these examples of how we can be as future professionals, but maybe classes about it where we could discuss could be a good improvement. So if Lara,
Thank you so
more.
much. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. We had, before we open, we're going to have this Menti, but just one brief comment from me. It's just, of course, I would have loved to follow all sessions. I've managed to follow a few this year. I'm very happy about. And I'd like to mention Elena's point, for example, when you're discussing films as politics. And it was very nice, what do I do when problems arise? If I show a film, then people really could ask. This was a very good example of how we can use this space, and then combining every time we try to talk about, every time it's possible to include the teaching aspect and the discussion is really nice. So this panel was excellent, and we thank you. But I'm sure that there are other parts of the exchanges that I was not following, but that also integrate this. And another thing that I see is that sometimes like ideas are there, and it's important that you are aware of the need, because then sometimes it's just, now it's the time to start. So we're discussing the need of creating maybe a network, trying to get a network to keep students from previous courses working together, discussing their papers. How can we support publication? We have part of the course that is focused on publication. And then as far as I could understand from you, this need is coming from the students and this idea of leading. So we're here to support you. But just to say that this idea was, now it's like mature, and we see that people take initiative, and then we are here to support the initiative with whatever we can do. But it's interesting to see sometimes we want to do something, and then, yeah, Siri wants to comment also?
No, not really on this. I think it's excellent. I think these are excellent ideas. I just wanted to say that Anna Cortes, yeah, just you can raise up. She's on the phone. Yes, and turn around. No, just come on. because I mean, there would have been no PhD course without Anna. So because she's been so instrumental at the past few years at every stage. And I think all of us have demanded so much on that. And Anna is she's a mover, but she loves to move behind the scenes. So you don't really, sometimes we don't even think about how important she is. So I was just very important to say that because so I just felt the need. Because the fact that this is a hybrid course, where 2/3 of the course are not the Bergen Exchanges, means that you have to have someone who will keep it, so to make sure that the call goes out, that people are applying, that the applicants are assessed, that the best applicants are chosen. We had lots of applicants to have that everything is organized well, that the sessions happen, that the parallel sessions happen. It's really a lot of work. And it's it's technical, but it's also every other kind of work. And I think that is one thing that it's not easy to do a digital course like this, actually. And it's not easy. It's a very complex thing to do. So also, I mean, we're also interested in feedback on that, but I have a sense that really went so smoothly that we almost didn't think about it.
We always have to introduce ourselves and say the fun fact. The fun fact with me is that I and Anna have the same surname. We are not part of the same family that we are aware of, but yes. Matea couldn't start with a Fabio, you're gonna lead this.
Yeah, I can skip
Okay.
the.
So now we just either enter the website and use the code, enter the code, or you
Yeah, or scan the.
scan the
Yeah.
QR code.
No, it's for everyone.
Everyone, yes. Do you know how many?
Uh,
Do you know how
I
many
cannot
people we are?
see, but-
7, 6?
can you see? Okay, so, right. Okay,
Okay,
so let's,
okay.
so let's, move.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the first question.
You can read the question.
How would you describe the Bergen Exchanges in one word? This is a good example of a student-led panel.
Mm-hmm.
Fabio's great idea, and
Thank you.
so you can read Fabio there.
Yeah, so we already have many words here in this word cloud. So we have mainly inspiring, diverse.
Is it possible to save this? How does it work, guys?
Uh,
Me, Matea is a technology. But it's recorded. So
yeah, I can send it to you guys later.
Great.
So we have so many words: interdisciplinary, horizontally, fun, amazing, belonging, transformative.
It's really moving to me.
Shall we move on to the next?
Yes,
one? Yeah,
I
so
think
let's.
so. Yes,
Oh,
a few people. Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. So.
You can read.
So what is the best part of Bergen Exchanges?
We're planning to have about 30 seconds
Yeah,
for
then.
each question, but you are good. Okay, yes, leave it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Caring, solidarity, optimism, reframing views, people's generosity, interdisciplinarity, horizontality, food. Where is City Garden?
City Club is there, yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
Diversity, food, fun, optimism, networking. Yes, everything. Okay. I think, yes.
Cities.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
should we move to the
Should we
next one?
move city? You're the boss. You're the main name, so you can decide.
Yeah.
You want to grow bigger. She want
Yeah.
taking the screen.
All right.
I think
Okay.
we're good. Yeah.
You're definitely the best part.
Yes.
So
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
All right. So the next one is, what is the biggest challenge involving an international exchange program like Bergen Exchanges?
No.
Oh,
If,
yeah,
oh,
it's cute.
if I could add, I would add the visa issues. We understand. I take this opportunity while you're waiting to see that I acknowledge that many of you depend on visa and many other people who sometimes cannot come because of visa issues. So we are aware. We try our best to have documents and all that is needed in place, but you understand that this is only one part of the challenge of getting the visa, right? And
Sleep deprivation.
yes, cultural differences, yeah. Ice breaking, following everything, yes, I understand, I'm with you, yeah. Information overload, probably for me. Coming my emails, yes. Yes. And the panels, of course. Yes, I think we are.
Should we
Then
move
we
to
have,
the
yes,
next?
and
Yeah, so it's the last
one,
last
right?
one. Yeah, last one. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so last is, what should be a forum for Bergen Exchanges in the future?
It's a topic.
Yeah.
This is more like what we've been discussing, research agenda. Yeah, research agenda for the next 10 years. So within your research topic or interest, what would you like to see as panels for the coming Bergen Exchanges? Feminist coalition, social movements, child rights, gender, sexuality, human rights and arts, law and social movements. Okay, people are still writing. We wait a few seconds and then we open for, and of course, this is not their last chance to suggest and influence the program, but it's really useful, yeah. So very grateful.
Now there are many.
Yes.
You couldn't even read.
Wow, we have
Okay,
26.
yeah, but
and
some of them
responses.
are similar. So thank you so much for sharing this. Maybe we could keep this open and then we continue the conversation if people would like to say something. Yeah. As
Can I
part
say
of,
something
of
quickly?
course, of
Because
course.
I
Where's
have
the
to go-
box?
I have to go off.
I think
I have
Lisa
to
has
take
to-
a phone call. So what I just wanted to say, and it's part of my job.
Can you take this?
Yeah, sure. So. So I have I have great sort of, what can I say, confidence in my voice, but so it's part of my job to actually create sort of an evaluation format, and it will be sent to you after the course, because I just as Lara said, it's difficult to do evaluations when you're here because you all feel like you have to say nice things, and and just as I was going to say this, that there is another opportunity, I had to run out and take a phone call, so I'm sorry about that. But the point is, like, a proper evaluation format will be sent to all of you who have taken the PhD course, within the week after you left Bergen. So, which basically means next week. So like, if you have other things stored up, you have another chance to bring it in. That's what I wanted to say.
Yes, anyone would like to comment and share your, yeah? Matea, the microphone is getting ready. No? Well, Carolina here. Carolina, so Rachel as well. Carolina,
Hi.
you've been here earlier for another course, so if you could also say, like, in combination with this.
Yeah, well, the first time that I came here was for the gender autocratization course that it was coordinated by Livia. I think Livia is here. And it was also like the first time that I was seeing more horizontal academia. So I really felt like compelled to continue learning from this community. And I think that's something that I save, in my heart, and I really appreciate that. And regarding the daily activities and all the work that Anna did before coming, I think we really felt that we were taking into account that you care about us. So I was like framing this, maybe it's not the way that you would like it to call it, but like feminist politics of care in daily life activities, like caring in the food, in if you fly, if you are okay, if you are healthy, you are not. So I think because it's like a Brazilian women's lead kind of group, I don't know, maybe I'm seeing things that I want to see, I don't know, but I feel like there's a politics of care and the centrality of life in the daily things that you are doing. So I really appreciate that. And maybe regarding of areas of improvement, we were talking in the morning about like the importance of maybe physical activities, of moving our bodies, right? Because it's not only about like the intellectual work, but also how we connect with our bodies and we embody those values that we are talking about. So maybe having a stretching session sometime every day, right? Like or someone was mentioning meditation, like this other ways to approach to knowledge that is also like embodied. So yeah, I really like it, and thank you for allowing us to be part of this community. I'm super grateful, as everyone else. Yeah.
Thank you. Rachel.
Anti-capitalist yoga.
I think that the comment, Ramesh's comment about how wonderful it is to start today with 5 minutes of bashing of capitalism. That is sort of where that came from, together with the yoga.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is the space for it, but as teachers on the course, I think we sometimes had the impression that you were really overloaded with the amount of reading that we had given you, and that I mean, it's always a trade-off as a teacher that you put together a reading list as a resource for you, but then I think there wasn't so much clarity maybe this year about exactly what you needed to read for each session. And there wasn't a lot of time as well, because some of you were coming here and you're getting ready to travel, and prior to travel is never a brilliant time for focusing. So I think from our point of view, maybe, yeah, some of the suggestions you've already made, but just a bit more precision about that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, these are anyone else? While I wait to see hands, I just say that this was in a way funny point, because when we had this workshop, the list of reading was referred to as the huge list. Ania was saying that people from the library, when they received the list that they make available for the students, they said, I've never seen such a list in my life. Experienced people. So it's a question of being explicit in what is expected as a mandatory reading, but also making text available, because one of our students was mentioning exactly this, that it's so nice to access text that otherwise wouldn't be available. So Priscilla, yeah.
And so I would like to thank everything and everyone. I would like to strongly reinforce what Carolina said about all the care and the emails, and like they worried about everything with us. And I don't know if maybe it's kind of off topic what I'm going to say, but I'm thinking a lot about how this was nice and important for our career and everything. And like, if you can share some thoughts about how can we reproduce these in your own universities and other spaces, because you of course have all this technology and funding and money, but I think I have been thinking about this a lot, like how can we can reach other students in our own country and in other universities that don't have this access, or it's so difficult to enter in these spaces, you know. Just some thoughts about that.
Anyone else? Namita?
Yeah. I just wanted to say that from my perspective, I think that every year the Bergen Exchanges has become more and more diverse and comprehensive in terms of a lot of the topics that we study. But I would like to echo your point about the political economy of knowledge production, decolonization, and so on. Like, you know, of course, as Siri would explain, that this and, you know, this entire project is made possible through funding from the Research Council of Norway, but I would put it to Siri and to others in the Norwegian academia as to really sort of pushing the academy, the Research Council as well, as to how to reproduce this model, because it is a model now. It's 10 years and it's really unique. And you know, I know you did the exchanges in Brazil, but perhaps there is more funding in Brazil compared to India and other places. So is it possible to sort of, you know, use this as something that we can do in the participating countries, and to not just make University of Bergen a center of excellence, but also to make the other institutions a center of excellence and really like make this a model to go?
So I would, Ruth, yes?
No, it's
Just as
I have been pressing City to do that for years, but I think she's too modest because she's afraid it would be called a city model or something. We can, it doesn't have to put your name, but I think that, you know, since there's a network of young scholars, I mean, maybe that might be, instead of top down, maybe something that comes bottom up from the experience and tries to identify what are the elements, because the truth is you're going to go back to your countries and you're going to continue experiencing what I call academic feudalism. And so it's going to be a shock. I mean, it's good to know that there's other ways, and it's good to know that you have a community, even if it's not in your universities, in your departments. And I'm talking about you, but I'm talking about myself. So it's not like, but I think that if you know, one initiative of the student network or the alumni network was about, you know, crafting something, I think there are more and more initiatives about rethinking academia, and I think the moment is ripe for the reflection, but also the embodied reflection, because this is not just theory, this is actually, so I would very much encourage Namita and the city model.
Thank you so much. Do we have?
Yeah, can I just very quickly? So this is my first time here. So my first time coming closer to this group and spending time with you. And I felt extremely welcome and extremely taken care of. So thank you, Lara, as well, for everything, for all your unending help and support and capacity and competence. I also want to say that I love the way that this group works in terms of interest, of self-regulation. Like I see some people sometimes are tired, so they take a step back, but there are always people here asking questions, and it works, it flows. And say that I met such amazing women here. And then I looked at the audience and I see that we are mostly women. And that this is diversity in academia. This is an extremely diverse in terms of academic spaces of what they look like. This is very unique. And I think it explains the reason why we feel as welcome and as taken care of and as heard and as comfortable as we do. And so congratulations on building this.
Thank you so much. Yes, we have Kim.
Hi, so this is my first time and I'm amazed. This is really what you've built, how, you know, the networks, the research projects that have grown out of this. I mean, it's really an amazing resource. And I just wanted to make one comment on teaching in response to the question about thinking about building in a teaching component. One thing we've done in the PhD program I normally teach in, the sociology PhD program at Princeton, is that we had the same worry from our PhD students. And what we did was they have to take a generals exam, which is where they read everything in sight and then have some stressful exam, right? We converted that to, instead of giving them an exam, asking them to develop a syllabus. And so one of the things that's really a useful exercise is, especially, so you're doing something on policing, so maybe because you're going to have to teach a course on policing one day. So maybe design the syllabus for this group, and maybe those become reading lists for sessions. But to get the students involved in drafting syllabi, first of all, you realize how much you have to know to do that. And that's one of the biggest parts that you have to learn when you teach. But the second thing, since you've just been through having read too much and like you've had critiques of the reading list, so then try it yourselves, and then this can be the audience for it, because it is such a good and sympathetic group. So maybe producing syllabi can be something else you put on the website to extend this past this particular group. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's a great idea. So we are 1 minute after the supposed time for the break. And one of the points we received was like more breaks, longer breaks. So we are keeping our 15 minutes break now. See you for next session. Thank you so much. Yeah.
I was looking forward to getting to see you from here.
Oh, I already had one.
I took mine. I took the